and welcome to Tech24. I'm your host, Rebecca Bowering. Coming up in the programme, rumour, ruse or reversal? Plans to bring down the social network on November the 5th fizzle out. We lift the lid on Operation Facebook and hacktivist collective Anonymous. Nokia and Microsoft, unholy union or heavenly match? We review the Windows Mango handsets aiming to get the Finns back on top, plus a look at a dual SIM phone ready to conquer the Indian market. Remember, remember, the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason and plot. Part of a poem we recite in Britain to remember Guy Fawkes Day, November the 5th, when a man in 1605 tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament. He failed, as did a modern-day digital gunpowder plot, we could call it. In a YouTube video posted in July, hacker network Anonymous threatened to, quote, destroy Facebook on the 5th of November over privacy issues. The group also said it would target US broadcaster Fox News as punishment for criticising the Occupy Wall Street movement. Eric Olander, our internet editor-in-chief, joins me now in the studio. So, Eric, those operations turned out to be what I would call a damp squib.
A damp squib, okay.
As in they didn't work.
It didn't work. Well, maybe, maybe not. You said earlier it was a failure, and I'm not going to necessarily take it that far. I guarantee you that every single software and security engineer on Facebook's payroll was working on Saturday, and they were petrified over the fact that Anonymous could crack into their network and release user information. We don't know what Anonymous wanted to do. Maybe just the fear of an attack forced Facebook to fortify its defenses to the point that they got what they wanted to accomplish. The most important thing is we cannot assign order to something that doesn't have any order. That's what Anonymous is. It is not it's a leaderless revolution. It's a leaderless group. It is not something that can be easily defined. So anybody that pretends to say that they're an organizer or a leader of Anonymous, to me, they're lying.
So we don't know if their proclamations are official or not.
But exactly,
basically.
And that's what in fact was come out on Twitter today, is that various strands of Anonymous are saying, well, this was an offshoot of Anonymous. It wasn't us. I don't believe that either, because there's nobody at the center of Anonymous. Just the same way that there was no one at the center of the Arabic revolutions in Tunisia or in Egypt. There was no leader there, just like there's no leader here, just like there's no leader of the Occupy movements in the United States.
So what do you make of this chap, Barrett Brown, who professes to be the face of Anonymous? That's a bit of a contradiction in terms, isn't it?
Yeah, frankly, it looks like somebody trying to profit from it. And, you know, anybody who says they're a spokesperson for it, they may be a spokesperson for a couple people of it, but they're certainly not the spokesperson for the entire movement, regardless of what they say. I don't trust any of that. What I trust is what Anonymous actually does. And Anonymous is extraordinarily effective at cracking into networks that have been insecure and at highlighting the vulnerabilities.
Or taking this awareness campaign approach, maybe they never even planned to do the attack, but as you say, Facebook was forced to fortify its defences.
We don't know what they wanted to do, and I think that's the moral of the story, is don't try and assign order to something that is really inherently chaotic.
They have done another U-turn of late, though. Let's talk about their attempts to unmask members of the Zetas drug cartel in Mexico. Now, they had to retract that, didn't they? Did they realise they were playing with the big boys and they were just, you know, playing with fire?
I think they knew exactly what they were doing, and then they responded to the demands of the Mexican government, who said, if you reveal the names of this cartel, you're going to have blood on the streets. Now, Anonymous is in this gray area moral-wise. You know, they unleash lots of user data to highlight the problem of security. Now, the problem is that if it's you or my data, we get completely upset the fact that our data was put out onto the internet for free for anybody to use. But they say in the long run, it will help narrow down the security holes that exist in many of these networks. So they're in this moral gray area, and this Mexican cartel question was really, once again, they thought the price was too high. They're on again, they're off again, they're on, they're off. And again, we don't know what they want to do.
You mentioned earlier the Occupy movement, which seems in some ways to be inspired by Anonymous. We see this masker from V for Vendetta, that film. And of course, WikiLeaks supporters have also been seen wearing the same mask. And some people are speculating that if WikiLeaks folds completely now that Julian Assange is to be extradited, that actually Anonymous could come up and fill that gap. What do you think?
Again, it's trying to put order where there's chaos. You know, WikiLeaks will probably go away. Julian Assange will probably become a footnote of history. But at the end of the day, it's not about WikiLeaks and it's not about Julian Assange. It's about the trends that protecting information is increasingly difficult in a networked world. So don't focus on the personalities. Focus on the trends. And the trend here is chaos.
Thank you very much, Eric. Stay with us. Test24 next. Now, Eric, we talked recently about the Windows 7.5 phone software. You have then Nokia's first example running the Mango OS. How is it?
I do, and you know, I was very excited to get my hands on this phone, and it's a beautiful phone. So these are the two newest phones coming out of Nokia. This is the first Nokia phone with Windows Phone 7.5, the Mango.
800.
Beautiful phone, nice hardware, and you just shake your head thinking to yourself, what are these people thinking? 499 euros for this phone. Yeah. And in my book, anytime something gets into that price range, it had better be good. It had better be better than the iPhone or any of the top Android phones. This phone fails on that front as well. It's a beautifully designed phone, as Nokia hardware often is, but simply putting in the Windows Phone operating system is not going to solve Nokia's problems.
So it won't give them a leg up that they need, given that their market share is halved?
No, because now what they're doing is they're competing in the same space as HTC, ZTE, a lot of these low-end operators that are taking the Windows Phone 7 operating system and putting it on there, and they're not adding any value to it. There's nothing in this phone that makes you go, wow. And frankly, in the phone business today, you have to wow. Now, this is another one. This is the
Asher 200.
The Asher 200. Now, this is competing at the bottom end of the market. This is 99 euros with a subscription. This is competing directly with BlackBerry's low-end markets. You know, those phones that you get for €1. This is going to be very, very popular in places like Africa, where Nokia has lots and lots of traction.
And India, too. And the idea is to try and get the next billion users online, because that gives them web access.
Absolutely. And people have a lot of loyalty to the Nokia brand. The problem here is the fact that they don't have the number of apps that BlackBerry has. And that's really going to be a key thing. Now, I think this phone will be very successful because of the brand loyalty and the relationships that Nokia has with operators, but it's not going to wow anybody. And companies like RIM, Sony Ericsson, and now Nokia have to get in the wow business, or else they're just going to get left behind by Apple and Android phones.
And what are your predictions for Nokia over the next 24 months?
You can hear it here. Nokia will not be an independent company within the next 24 months, in my view. Nokia will be acquired by either Microsoft or somebody else.
It's a lot of doom and gloom.
It is a lot of doom and gloom, but not for the entire mobile industry, just for some players who don't innovate.
Thank you very much, Eric Orlando, for being our guest this week, and thank you to you for watching this edition of Tech24. A reminder, of course, to go to our Facebook page where you can join the conversation /Tech24 on the social network. It's there in English and in French, and you can also follow us both on Twitter. Our closing clip this week is a mashup from a music duo made famous only on YouTube. Vocalist Sam Chewy and his multi-instrumentalist producer Kurt Schneider are from Pennsylvania, and they put together a medley of summer pop tunes. It's clocked up over 1 million viewings in under a week. If you like this, check out the other links I'll be putting on our Facebook page. See you again next week. Bye-bye.
Where we know we both belong, 'cause we might not get tomorrow. Pictures of last night ended up online. I'm screwed. Oh well, I wanna run right through to the edge with you, where we can both fall far in love. There's a stranger in my bed, there's a pounding in my head, glitter all over the room, pink flamingos in the pool. I smell like a mini bar, DJ's passed out in the yard, Barbie's on the barbecue. This a hickey or a bruise, don't care what